I want to tell you about the most disciplined trader that I ever knew blowing his first funded account. And yeah, I'm going to say it's me. I'm that person right here. And I don't like to brag or claim to be anything really. I don't think that feels good necessarily, but for the sake of what I want to talk about today, I'm going to tell this story. And for the context, you need to know how disciplined I am in my trading. You know, I'm the kind of trader that when I talk to my friends in trading who are traders, and when I'm in my trading groups, they quite often tell me, man, I can't believe how disciplined you are. You know, to the point where I've actually had to push myself the other way. I've had to tell myself, I need to start taking trades, taking more trades, start being less conservative. Now, what happened? Well, about 6 months ago, I was trading and I decided that I needed to quit drinking coffee. I drank a lot of coffee, like too much coffee. I loved it. I would make these homemade espressos that were hand pressed, had super deep flavor. They made like your coffee shop coffee taste like crap. And so I would drink way too much of it because it tasted so good. And it started impacting my life. It started impacting my trading to the point where I would just fall flat on my face in the afternoons and need to take a nap. And that's not, that for somebody that's as active and healthy as me, that's not normal. So I decided to pull out coffee. I've been drinking it for however long, 20 something years. And I was like, well, that's kind of the last thing I need to check. I've gone to the doctors. I've cleaned, my diet's super clean. My sleep's dialed in. I shouldn't pass out at 2 in the afternoon and need a nap. So took the coffee out. And I timed it so that way, because of course, when you drink an excessive amount of coffee, there's going to be withdrawals. So I timed it over a weekend. So that way I would stop on a Friday morning, go through the withdrawals Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then be able to get back to trading on Monday, right? Well, it was actually a pretty bad idea. I went through the withdrawals, migraines, nausea, and all that. Not a lot of fun. And on Monday, I felt somewhat okay. And I went into the session to trade a brand new funded account. And this was a perfectly good account. I think I had like one small trade on it, no big deal. And that session I took, my first trade was a loss. And I'm the kind of person, I take a trade and I walk away generally, whether it's a loss or a win. You can see up on the screen, wherever that in there. I took one long today, one winner, and I walk away. I'm done. We can even see, my calendar over here is typically like one trade, 2 trades, 1 trade. And I don't even trade 50% of the days. Look at this month here, right? We have, half the days are not even traded. So anyways, I went into that session. I took that loss. And within 15 minutes, I had completely blown that account. That was my first account that I've ever blown. Out of 10 funded accounts that I have, that was the one that I've lost. So why did me, a super disciplined, almost like superhuman disciplined, controlled trader, trade that account into the ground? Well, it was emotions. I got triggered. And I wasn't able to control my emotions in the market because of the withdrawals from the caffeine. So what I want to talk about today is winning in trading isn't what you think it is. It's not having the perfect model. It's not market conditions. It's not any of that stuff. And yes, they play a role because mechanically you need to be able to read price action. You need to have a model that actually works, right? But what has been super interesting to me is I've had months where I've, let's say, live traded unprofitably, and I've gone and back tested and had it turn out quite profitably. And that is a clear indication to me that mental state and how we're viewing the markets makes all the difference for if we're going to be profitable or not. So that's my story. Let's dive in. So you get what I'm trying to say here, right? In order to win at trading, the emotions have to be removed. In my experience, time and time again, this is the thing that I keep coming back to that always messes me up. And it's subtle, but it can make a big difference. Now, this is easier to do than most people think, but the problem is in society, most people, they just simply aren't taught how to do this. And that's something I've had a lot of background and a lot of experience in both inside of trading and outside of trading. So how do you do this? Well, simply put, I'm going to try to break this down as simply as possible for trading. We reflect, we correct, we reflect, we correct. That's the process. And we do that within every trading day. It's not hard. It's not complicated. It's not sexy. No one really wants to do this, right? People want the dopamine. That's simply put, they want to click and win. And that's what they want to do. But if you're serious at trading, if you actually want to succeed, if you want to be the as they say, 1% succeeds, which is also true at everything else at life, I feel like so few people succeed at business. Why is that? Well, because they're not willing to do what you have to do. So if you're the kind of person that thinks that you are willing to do what it takes, and you're not doing this, if you're not reflecting on your trading day, especially the emotions, and correcting it, and then revisiting it and correcting it, I don't know. I don't know how well you'll trade. I've just noticed for me personally, that has made one of the biggest differences, because over the last year and a half, I think, my model hasn't changed. My knowledge of the markets and market structure and reading price action hasn't changed. But what has gotten me to this level of consistency, 72% win rate in real-time conditions, has been working through all of the subtle emotions, all the problems that come with this. So let's go through some steps. I'm going to break this down into 3 easy steps in terms of how to do this. Oh, I'm giving away my secrets again. I got to get better at this. All right. So the first step is simple. Journal, document the session, and document the trades well, especially any emotions. And you got to journal those 3 things. Now, when it comes to the journal, what does that mean? Well, in addition to documenting all the technical stuff from the day, maybe you're studying the price action. Did New York make the low of the day, the high of the day, right? Those kind of things. You want to have just a daily journal. So I'm going to show you mine. This whole thing actually, here's my journal. All of these categories that you can open up, like you can see how ridiculous this journal gets. And I'm not saying you need to do all of this, okay? But I want you to pay attention to 3 specific things. So here's my broad journal. So today, Thursday, April 18th. Number 1, what happened today? I just kind of quickly highlight that. I look at, was today a winning day? And I grade myself an A, B, C, D, E, or F, right? Based off of, did I follow my rules? Did I manage my trade according to my plan? Did I follow my daily guidelines, which are kind of like my daily rules, such as, if I have a headache, I can't trade, right? Did my emotions not impact my trading today? And I answer, was today a profitable day? I answer, what did I do and what should I have done? So like, for example, I say, I took a long at whatever time, 9:30, and I should have waited for the 9:50 long, okay? Then the next question is, what would you like to improve from today? It's quite simple, just quick think back. What didn't you do well today? 6 is, would you take the trade again? Simple. Was it a good trade? 7, if no trades or there's at least one missed setup from the day, I took it. And then here's the big one. What notable emotions did you feel? Oh man, let me see if she can remove my camera real quick for y'all. What notable emotions did you feel? Now for what I'm recommending, this should be generally pretty well thought out and detailed. And in this case here, I've been doing this so long, I don't typically have huge emotional swings throughout the trading session, so mine's not very big. And then lastly, did you win or you learn? Okay, I won and I learned. This is my just daily overview journal, just broadly, and it kind of gives some context for the day. What happened? And you'll find out in a little bit how we're going to use all this information a little later. All right, so let me bring my face back. I'm there. All right, so let's go back here. I want to show you next the document the session. So what I mean by that is what happened. And this is what I do. I just simply have a little template where I note the pre-market notes after my pre-market evaluation or analysis. I just document the session play by play, time by time. I'm like, okay, so for today, 9:30 short presented, but I'm not bearish, so I'm not taking it. I didn't take this bearish trade. I took this long, right? Quite simple. These are the 3 things that I document every day just to give some context for what happened. Now, next. and then document the trades well. So let's show you what that looks like. So in the case here, and this is bridging a little bit on both the technical because I use them both, so I'm just showing it to you. But ultimately, you can see, I document the model, the price action, I document my trades management, but this is what I want you to pay attention to here, emotions. I document the emotions in the trade. I said here, I want to actually break even on the trade because I didn't want a red day. Reminding myself that the process over P&L, and I stayed in relatively calm after that. So here you can see I experienced emotion, but I managed it in the trade in real time, and I didn't freak out because I think if I had freaked out, let's say I just collapsed the trade, I wouldn't have gotten the profits. So those are the 3 things that you need to do. Document all of those things. And what do we do with them? Well, let's go next. Out of order boxes. Use ChatGPT to review your journal and find the number 1 mistake that you made today. So quite simply, I just run my stuff into ChatGPT, and we can see here, here's today. And I just use this template. Here's my trade from today. Please be my coach, referencing other conversations you have about me, and provide me with a grade from, F to A. 2, the best thing I did today. 3, the biggest improvement from today. Provide a detailed explanation and then a short summary. And I provide all 3 of those pieces to ChatGPT. You can see I just copy and paste that out of my Discord journal, out of my notes in my trade, and slap it right in here. And then I get some feedback from ChatGPT. Overall grade A. Why not A+? Today had 1. Trade number 1 was entered before full mental readiness after sitting back down. And it gives you the feedback, and it points out the one biggest thing that you need to do today. Now, in my case, I like a short version that I can copy and paste into my journal, and that's at the very end. Grade A. Excellent process with one meaningful but well-corrected execution leak. The biggest improvement. Your ability to separate chart quality from trader readiness and make context-based decisions instead of pure candle-based reactions. And it was talking about, I think, a trade I took at lunch today where, I guess that doesn't matter. Ultimately, in the case of this journal entry, there's really not much to take forward here. For me, at least. This was a good day. I didn't have any major failures within my system or my emotions, but often it will. And what do you do with that? Well, let's move on. Gosh darn it, I just apparently want to give off all my secrets today. So you print out simple mindset reminders and you review them 10 minutes before each session. And this is just such a big hack because it's hard to remember all these things. But what I do, maybe you've seen my lives, I hold these up. I print the lesson out actually on paper. I create what I call, these scripts, whatever they are. I'm looking for another one that's small and easy to show you. And I print these out and I read them every morning. I have a stack of papers. I get on the treadmill and I read these papers every single morning. It takes me less than 10 minutes, generally 5 minutes before each session is a mental reminder. And if there's one in particular, like for example, today we're trying to look for the one that I had out. I pull the one that really stuck out to me as the thing I needed to focus on today, and I put it on my desk. All the rest of these, I don't have in front of me. I don't care. I don't want to see them. But I take the one, like this one here, it says, remember, trading is of this world and you are of spirit. It's just a game. And I put that on my desk in front of my keyboard. The one big thing that I need to remind myself for emotional control. That's the process. It's not that hard. It's the stuff most people don't want to do. And it makes me sad because I see, traders I know, like it's obviously one of those things where it's hard to see the forest through the trees, but I'm looking at some of their trades and I'm like, bro, you took 6 trades in there. Why? And I see that pattern over and over again. They keep doing the thing, the over trading that's blowing the account and causing them to tilt. And for whatever reason, they'll study candlesticks. They'll watch trading videos because that's easy. They won't do the hard thing, which is just learn to control your emotions. Now, I guess as a last, we'll move on to the last point here. The pro tip is, this is also true outside of trading. All inputs and behaviors in our life can make us more emotional. And I want to reference the story early on in this video when I told you about, me and the caffeine. That was an example of an input making us more emotional. Sugar is one thing that can make me more emotional. I have to be super careful with sugar. If I eat very much of it at all, the next day I am more likely to have emotional swings, right? Stress in our life, relationship issues, all of this stuff has an impact on our trading. But also all of our trading has an impact on the rest of this stuff as well. If you learn to be more emotionally controlled in trading, you're going to be more emotionally controlled in the rest of your life, which for us men is a really good thing because there's a lot of man-childs out there, just erratic, emotional, responsive. They aren't real men. I'm not going to go on that tangent. You get what I'm saying. But what I do want to say for all people is that this plays out in our lives as well. So I spent quite a while doing relationship repair workshops where we really got to learn how to communicate clearly and effectively with our partner. And this is a very similar kind of thing because you had to step out of your emotion and step into communication with your partner. Similar in trading, we have to step out of our emotion in trading and step into our mechanical trading systems in the charts. But it works both ways because in doing that relationship work and communication work within relationship with my wife, now we don't ever fight. Like, I don't even think we've fought in a year or two, which that used to bleed into my work. We would have a big fight and then I wouldn't get any work done all day. Even when I was, early on learning and trading, we still fought a little bit here or there, and it would ruin my session. I would start off with a fight with my wife, and I eventually made a rule: if me and my wife have an argument, I cannot trade that day. And of course, that's such a big topic. I mean, I could make hours and hours of video about how our life outside of trading and our emotional control outside of trading impacts our trading and vice versa. But it's just something I want people to think about because I feel like it's the added bonus, not only if you want to succeed at trading, without needing to be a genius, having talent, or without luck, like this is the ticket, but it's also the ticket to succeed at life. So take it for what you will. If that was valuable, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your feedback.